So tonight's talk is going to be about essential green smoothies and a few other things. I'm a little technically challenged here in terms of, there we go, advancing the slides. Who am I? About Madeline. So I am a certified raw food coach. I am a certified holistic health practitioner. I am an essential oil enthusiast. I love my oils, have for a very long time. I'm a graduate of IIN, which is the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And I'm the author of 2 books, Essential Green Smoothies, Essential Sauces, Dips, and Dressings, and a whole lot more. I like to say I'm multi-passionate. I love anything holistic. I have a number of certifications in different kinds of modalities. But the place in my heart for healthy eating is a very driving force in my life. So tonight we'll talk mostly about green smoothies and why smoothies, the anatomy of a smoothie, some recipe ideas for you, a few pro tips. Then we're going to go beyond smoothies into smoothie bowls, which is a favorite around here. And then Q&A. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer those. So why smoothies? Well, obviously they are packed with nutrition. They're easy to make. They travel well. You can just put it in a mason jar or a container of some sort and off you go. They're delicious. They're never boring. There's so many options, especially with the oils. You want to add your oils to those, which add so much variety and so much flavor. And kids love them, big kids and little kids. So anatomy of a smoothie, we've got all the ingredients, basically some sort of liquid, fresh greens, fruit, superfoods if you want, protein powder, fats if you want, and essential oils. And I like ice, not everybody does, but I just like a cold drink. So that's kind of up to you. So let's talk about liquid. A good unit of measurement is to take 16 ounces of your favorite liquid as a base. And so nut milks are great. You can make your own or you can buy them if you choose to buy them pre-made. I would read the labels really carefully and avoid anything that has like guar gum, or any of those gums can be a little tough on the digestive system. Coconut water, coconut milk. There's a coconut milk brand that I like. It's called Aroid, A-R-R-O-Y-D, and it comes in one of those aseptic packages, they call them, those little cartons, and there's nothing in there but coconut milk, no funky ingredients. And it's so concentrated, you don't really need very much of that. So you can add water. I wouldn't put 16 ounces of that. It would be fat city, but you know, just a little. Mostly I do things intuitively, so it's a little bit of a trick for me to have to hone in on amounts because it just kind of happens in the kitchen. But some people like to follow recipes, but so this is kind of a good rule of thumb. Coconut water, you know, I have a picture here of a young Thai coconut, which is a favorite around here. We make smoothies out of those too, with the meat and the water. Right, and then of course nut milks, almond milk, so easy to make. And then you could, you know, make it in a blender with water and the fresh nuts of your choice, and then just strain them, and then save what you're straining out, and you can throw the nut meat that's left over in the freezer until you're ready to use it. Or if you have a dehydrator, you can dehydrate it and use it in different recipes. So really nothing goes to waste around here, everything gets used at some point. Fresh greens. Spinach is going to be your most neutral flavor. So if you have kids and maybe they're a little bit particular about their flavors, you know, like kale can be a little harsh. It's not this more of a strong flavor. Swiss chard is also very mild. And I just throw the stems in there too. Those are really, really good. I find using the green chard with the lighter stems doesn't change the color of the smoothie so much. So again, I know if you're dealing with children, they can be a little particular when it comes to texture and color and that sort of thing. So this is kind of a good way to sneak those greens in there, unless you want to teach them how good they are and have them participate, which has its benefits as well. And then collard leaves, got a picture of collards. I didn't put that on the slide. Beet greens are great, especially the golden beet greens. I find they have a little bit of a different taste than the red ones. They just lend themselves better from a flavor perspective. Lettuce, all kinds of lettuce I throw in there, whatever I have in the house really. Arugula has a little bit of a bite. I'll use less of that, quite a bit less. Yeah, that's just a few ideas. Bok choy, I put it up there. I've kind of sworn off of bok choy myself. I went to China for 3 weeks, and that's kind of all we ate. It was very limited. They have bok choy and everything, so I haven't been able to eat it since, and it's been like 20 years. But to each his own, right? All right, fruit, frozen bananas, frozen strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. A little hint about those. We go berry picking every summer. We have our favorite organic berry farms here in the local area. There's a strawberry one, a blueberry one, and we didn't write blackberries, but they grow wild everywhere here. And so we pick many, many, many pounds, like 20, 30 pounds. We freeze them. And we have one of those machines where you can bag them and suck the air out, to really preserve them. And so we have enough to get us through the winter, which is really a blessing. Dragon fruit, which is also known as pitaya. If anyone follows the medical medium, he's real big on dragon fruit. It's good for the liver. And they sell that at our local food co-op has it, comes frozen. I've seen it at Costco fresh too. Mangoes, again, you can buy big bags of mangoes, or I think none of the others listed here. Peaches, I've seen them too. And when I say fruit, I'm talking organic. I really believe people should eat the cleanest food they can possibly afford. Pears, yeah, pineapples, kiwi, papaya, anything that you like is going to be great. Superfoods, here's where it gets fun. Spirulina, barley grass powder, camu, which is a great natural source of vitamin C. And especially now with all that's going on in the world, some extra vitamin C is a good thing, especially from a nice clean food source. Maca, my favorite smoothie right now is actually a protein shake that has maca and raw cacao in it. A little bit of coconut milk. Tastes like, I don't know, too good. Tastes too good to be healthy, but it is. Ashwagandha, I said cacao, honey. You're always going to want to look for a local raw honey, especially if you know the source. Turmeric. You can use powder, you can use oil, you can use fresh, whatever you can get. Acai and wild blueberry. Now those come in powder or frozen. You can get them either way, but they're great superfoods to add. Protein powder, for other options, if you wanted to, instead of having just a green smoothie, you want to have a protein shake. doTERRA now has their 3 different types, vanilla, chocolate, and vegan, which would be my choice. Last one, I can't do whey. So it's nice that they have that. And then optional fats, if you wanted to make your smoothie something that, that was going to last you a little longer in the morning. Just a little bit of avocado, or a tablespoon or a couple of teaspoons of coconut oil, or a tablespoon of nut butter, something like that would help to just give you more staying power through the day. Wouldn't go through your system as fast. Of course, anybody who's struggling with any kind of medical conditions, again, I follow the medical medium, and he talks about overuse of fats not being a good thing. So take that into account, your overall consumption, and don't overdo it, as with anything. So some of my favorite essential oils to use in smoothies and other culinary creations. We've got wild orange. I put that at the top because it's one of the favorites. It goes with just about anything. I recently found some beets that had wintered over in my garden. I was tilling the garden plot, getting it ready for this season's planting. And I found a couple of really beautiful beets in there. So I made a nice beet salad, and I used some of the wild orange oil. It really, really tasted good. Grapefruit, it's a good one. Lemon, lime, any of the citrus oils, you really can't go wrong with those. Lemongrass, cardamom, I love in nut milk. Just, a drop or two of that if I'm making, especially Brazil nut milk, but almond as well. Yeah, lavender, spearmint, any of the mints, peppermint, cinnamon. Cinnamon's a little stronger than cassia, so you're going to want to proportion that accordingly. And I'll give you some breakdowns later. Basil, bergamot, clove, and cilantro. So those are some of our favorites. Okay, pro tips. Invest in a good high-speed blender. This is really important if you want to get the best result, if you don't want to have chunks of greenery in your smoothie. The BlendTech is my personal favorite. I love it for its versatility. I don't sell them, I'm just sharing. It's just the way that the machine is designed, the blender jar. The blade is longer. It's got 5 sides to it. It has an extra jar you can get, which is great for sauces and dips and stuff, that has like little spatulas built into the lid. So you can turn it, it's called a twister jar. So as you're blending, you can turn the top, and then it takes all the stuff that would normally stick to the sides of the blender and it puts it back in. And again, because with sauces, you're usually making smaller quantities, it's perfect because it's a smaller jar. So that's my pitch for BlendTech. Vitamix is also a great blender. Again, I say invest in a good blender because they're an investment. That said, the NutriBullet RX, I've seen them at Costco for about $100. It is a great blender. It is a really good blender, super high speed. And yeah, I go back and forth. I do have the BlendTech and that NutriBullet, and I love them both. It just depends on what I'm making. So there's that. And then Eat Clean. So the Environmental Working Group comes out every year with their list of Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 ingredients. So they test all these different fruits and vegetables. And so right now, this is the current list for this year, the Dirty Dozen. And I think they're in order, actually. So strawberry, spinach, as you can see, is high on the dirty list, as is kale and collard and mustard greens. They lump those all together. Kale, they actually just started testing, I believe it was last year. That was new, I guess, maybe because it had gained so much popularity. They figured they better check on it. So I don't think it's so much that it's became dirty. It probably was, and it was flying under the radar. Nectarines, apples, grapes, cherries, peaches, pears, bell and hot peppers, and tomatoes and celery. And, I juice celery every day, so I'm buying organic. And I love it when I get it on sale. I just found a great sale, 99 cents a pound. I bought 27 pounds of celery. Amazing, so good. Okay, and then in the Clean 15 list for this year, we've got avocados, sweet corn, pineapples, onions, papayas, sweet peas, frozen eggplants, asparagus, broccoli, cabbage, kiwi, cauliflower, mushrooms, honeydew melons, and cantaloupes. So, before I said, eat the cleanest, best food you can afford. So if budget-wise, you saw the dirty list, here's the clean list. That's how you can kind of proportion how you're going to spend your money. Avocados that haven't been grown organically, would be a good substitute. And same thing with broccoli and onions and anything you would find here. With papayas, I would say be careful too, because a lot of those are genetically modified. Corn as well, but I think sweet corn is not, which is why they listed it that way here. And let's see, next. Oh, here's a pro tip. This came out of a personal experience. Peel your bananas before freezing them. So I was going to visit a friend and she kindly asked me, she was on her way to the store and I was flying out to see her. This happened a couple of years ago. And she asked me, is there anything I can pick you up at the store? I said, oh yes, I would love it if you would grab me some bananas for my smoothies. So I got there, she said, I got your bananas. And she put them in the freezer like that. And you can't peel bananas once they're frozen. So they sat there the whole time. She probably thought I was crazy because I didn't say anything to her. I didn't want her to feel bad, but yeah, those bananas didn't get eaten because I couldn't peel them. So peel your bananas. Okay, beyond green smoothies, beyond smoothies, the smoothie bowl. Oh, this is our favorite around here. My husband, every morning he has to have his smoothie bowl. So it's a good alternative to drinks. And this kind of what a typical smoothie bowl would look like in our house, a green smoothie bowl. 2 frozen bananas, 2 handfuls of fresh spinach or whatever greens. This is just an example. 1/2 cup of frozen dragon fruit, some barley grass powder, spirulina, and enough water to blend to keep it in a like a creamy bowl-like consistency, like not too mushy. And I can't be specific about the water because it depends on how frozen the bananas are. Sometimes they're more or less frozen than other times, depending on where they are in the freezer, I think, or if they've been sitting out. So again, it's not an exact science. But then you can add whatever toppings. So you just blend it until it's like creamy. And that would serve 2 people with the 2 bananas. So sometimes I'll add 3 bananas depending on the size and how hungry my husband is. And different toppings, what we have pictured there, we have hemp seeds and there's some, what is that? Well, coconut. Oh, it's bee pollen. Yeah. Super good for you. Okay. So I've written a couple of books. We've got essential green smoothies and essential sauces, dips, and dressings, which are kind of fun. So some people like to just, play around and intuitively throw things in the blender. And if you're one of those people, great. It's so much fun and have a great time. And if you're somebody who likes to follow recipes, these have all been tested and received happily. So that's an option for you. Here's an example of one of the pages from the book, the smoothie book. And yeah, you can just take a screenshot or something and just give you a little example of what it looks like and how we tried to tell a little story about the ingredients, picked an ingredient from each of the recipes. And the artist that I worked with, he's a local artist. His name is Royce Richardson. And yeah, he did all that art. And we worked together closely to come up with names that he could draw. That was fun. And then I wanted to offer you a gift. If anyone wants to go to my website, consciouslyraw.com, there's a free download there. It's called 10 Epic Smoothie Bowls to jumpstart your morning. So feel free to grab that. And then the other thing I meant to mention before, because I forgot to make a slide, oil substitutions, like guidelines, because the oils are so much more potent than the spices themselves. The way you would substitute, so a citrus oil, for example, you would, for like a teaspoon of citrus zest, you would put in just 1 drop of oil. Orange is very much more forgiving than a lot of the others. You can add more of that and it won't be too much for the recipe most times. But minty oils, it would be 1 drop of essential oil for 1 teaspoon of dried like peppermint or spearmint, or dried mint leaves, or 1 tablespoon of fresh mint. So fresh mint is kind of strong. Less is more, I guess, is what I want to say. Less is more. Just sometimes a drop is even too much depending on what you're making. So in that case, we use a toothpick. We can actually put a toothpick into the bottle and just get a little bit of the oil on there and just stir it around in your blender and try it. You can always add more. That's more. And yeah, that's kind of what I got.